Her smile shines as bright as the stars at night. Her heart is as kind as can be. She has the patience of a saint, but if you push her, oh Lordy. A straight talker is Smiley. She's the salt of the earth. Make no mistake, she matters. Catch Smiley's story on a live stream. Oh boy, that girl can matter. Go Smiley. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Missing posters and stories of heartache and fear. She tells us all of the heartbreaking tears. She can sniff out the guilty from a mile away. If Smiley's on the case, then she's here to stay. She cares about these missing children. She cares deeply about them all. She speaks the truth with integrity. For the truth, she will seek it all. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Smiley's questions are like a heat-seeking missile. She's going straight for the bullseye. Don't ever believe you can fool her. She's too wise, man, she won't comply. She values freedom like the 4th of July. She values respect even more. If you want to earn a place at Smiley's table, watch the clock, it takes time for sure. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you break her trust, you're done for. Trust don't grow back like grass. So don't give Smiley a reason to doubt you, or that friendship will shatter like glass. She's a damn good woman, that much we know. She puts in the hours to bring them kids home. If your child is missing, you want Smiley on the case. She is always willing and she gives so much grace. She's a Smiley, alright. She's a Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you're guilty, you better feel fear.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Sunday morning, October 5th, 2025. Hello, Dawn Emery. Hello, good to see you, first one. And Janice. Hello, my beautiful mod, Janice. Panda Bear's mom. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Ella, hello. Hello, Susan. I'm so glad everybody's here. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. If you are here, you are Smiley's Ride or Die crew. Hello, hello. I am so glad and thankful for your support. Hello, Chuchi. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. How is everybody doing this great Sunday morning? It's raining here, but I'm back home. I got home this morning and got on the stick, honey. I come in here to see y'all this morning. Good morning, Gypsy. Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. Thank you all for being here. I am so happy to be here and spend some time with y'all this Sunday morning, and I'm so grateful that you come to spend some time with me. I hope I didn't interrupt y'all sleeping late on this Sunday or your church time or whatever you were blessed to be doing today. I just thank you for being here. Thank you so much. So, thank you. Today, I told y'all I wanted to dig into this DID stuff and all the things. Panda Bear's mom said, today I'll be receiving the Devlin's Awareness keychains today. Oh, that's wonderful. And I'll have my Venmo up on my channel and the email address. That is wonderful. I am glad you got those in. Thank you for letting us know. We'll get your, Janice, if you will drop Panda Bear's mom's link, because we want to get all things out about Devlin. Devlin Tate is still missing. I know there's a lot of things coming out about Devlin and Lady Freedom Raw. Oh, Lady Freedom Raw. I know I'm saying it backwards. Lady Freedom. Just shorten it up. Her channel has been doing a great job on that. And I'm still catching up on some of that. And then we're going to do a live on it over here. Me and Panda Bear's mom talked about that last week. And it was just so much catching up to do. We decided to put it off a little bit, as I told her. But y'all go over there and check out those keychains and stuff like that. Hey, Miss Ann. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate you so much. So yeah, because we wanted to get out the information on Devlin all we can. All these missing kids, man, it is something else. They all need to be found. And Sebastian and Summer, and you know, I know there's a lot of talk out there right now about Summer, and you know, it's coming back on the trials fixing, or not the trial, the prelims fixing to come up on Jake and Rebecca. And I was just thinking this morning, if baby Emmanuel was out there in the I can't even think of the word, the damn trash yard, the dump yard, junkyard, whatever. Why is it that they taken through there? Why is that? They did it with Quentin Simon, you know, and Emmanuel's just as important. Emmanuel is just as important. Why are they not doing that? It makes me so upset and so angry. It makes me so angry. These kids are not throwaways. It's horrible. It's awful. She had his mom speak last night. I'll go over there and watch that. I had to take some time off. And as y'all know, look, I'm getting older. I just have to take some more time to myself. You know, again, it's a few days will be my mom's 1-year anniversary. She passed, and I was with her when she passed. And it's took more of a toll on me than I can even say. So I've stayed busy this whole year more than I even realized. And I can't believe this whole year has even passed. I just can't. So anyway, but I wanted to talk today about, this DID, some thoughts I had. We talked about that the other day, and I want to talk about David and Celeste, and I want to show some videos. And what we're going to talk about today is very deep, and it's something very real, and it's something that affects a lot of lives and a lot of people, but rarely it gets spoken about out loud. And it's also called pain. And some pain gets a name, right? I want to say this disclaimer before we talk about this discussion. We know, and I know I'm going to get some smart ass on here to go, we know you're not a doctor, Smiley. Well, anyway, this is my channel, and I'm going to say it the Smiley way, okay? Smiley way, Smiley style, okay? My disclaimer is, before the discussion, I want to say right up front, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist, okay? Some of y'all don't use common sense. I'm not y'all in the chat, obviously, but, some of these trolls and stuff, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist or anything, and nor have I ever claimed to be, nor will I ever claim to be. But I do have some life experience. I do my research, and I do have compassion. This live is about awareness, and it's about understanding, but it is not about medical advice, okay? You can do your own research. And if you or someone you love is struggling, please call or text. Text 988. There is a suicide crisis lifeline also, and it's free. It's confidential, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I want you to know you are not alone. Mental illness is real. There's hundreds, thousands probably, types of mental illness, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. And if the truth was known, mental illness has probably touched everybody that comes through here. Probably. In some type of way. Honestly. Today, we're going to talk about thoughts on DID, and that equals dissociative identity disorder, and which we all know again, and I'll say it again, I'm no doctor, psychiatrist, or psychologist. Excuse me. But I have, in my younger days, I have been in the medical field, and in different many areas in the medical field. In fact, I did have go to school for some things in my younger days. But anyway, that's beside the point. That don't matter. None of that even matters now. Look where I am now, right? But I do have some personal experiences with some things as well, for sure. But by no means am I giving any medical advice, nor would I ever. These are things that is pretty interesting, I think, to us all. Like I say, in anything that I ever put out, no matter what it is, when I do these lives like this, hey, PG's little girl, hello. We're never too smart to learn, and we're never too old to learn or try to understand. That's what I always say, but you can do your own research, and I think even the professionals would tell you that. And by no means, I'm going to talk about David, D4vd, and I'm going to talk about Celeste. Although in my opinion, I think, in my opinion only, I think he has some mental issues, in my personal opinion, I think he might have had some alters. That's my opinions as well. But I don't know that he has this, and I'm not necessarily tying. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I find this fascinating, and don't think either. I want to get this up front. Do not dare think I am, when I talk about certain things, because I want to put this out here, I am not by any means, because I'm putting all of this in my show, that I am in any way, shape, or form, because I am not. And I will get to that if you listen to my whole show. I am not in any way, shape, or form excusing anything he's done on my feelings or anything like that either. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to pay attention. Hey, Pete Phoenix. Hello, hello, hello. But with that being said, I do have a lot of videos today. And, but I do want to say, even books or the best doctors or, colleges can't teach certain things, period. But, look, we all can have our own thoughts and our own opinions, and it's a free country, right? It's our right. But nothing here from me today is any way, shape, or form medical advice. I just want to make sure it's all for learning, speculation, and trying to use a little bit of common sense, which is kind of very hard to come by nowadays. So I personally just thought myself it's a very interesting topic. And in light of the entire David mess and Celeste case, I wanted to talk about it. And it's my show, and I can talk about whatever I want to do. So many things seem not right here, even in my opinion, with David way back before Celeste was in the picture. So many things was not right. And I want to say, everyone immediately, when things like this happens, everyone, if you'll go back and you'll listen, everyone always wants to jump to, no matter who it is, this person is a sociopath, this person is a psychopath, these people is this and that. That's pretty common. And it may also be true. But in this case, something keeps, in my opinion, bringing me to DID. It does. It just keeps nagging me. So again, I'm not saying that that's the issue, and I'm not saying that it's not either. But he himself has put a Tommy on himself. He himself has said he has alters, and it has been known. But he himself has said these things about himself. It's out there in the world as a teen, and with a child or a teen with aliases, that makes me go, So I want to talk about it, period. And the more I hear, the more I just guess I want to talk about it. So live with it. Live with it. So first, though, I heard this morning. This is a very short one. Matt Theobox, I always say his last name wrong. I know it. Y'all just have to get with my speech, honey. This is Smiley style. We're going to go over it. This was very interesting. This is about, we'll start with this first about David, D4vd. Is the police looking over his records? Now, they should have already been doing that. Let's listen to what Matt has to say. Matt's a very intelligent young man, I think. So let's get to this. Let me put the banner up. Y'all go sub up to him. He's got a YouTube page, and he's got a TikTok. This one came from TikTok. but I'm sure he don't care. You go sub up to him, and he's a good guy. Okay, he really is. Let me see if I can get to this one first. Let me see a little. Y'all, when I get so many up here, I go cray. So hold on a minute. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. Oh, this is it. Hold on. Okay.
I was just checking on it again a second ago, and when I refreshed and it pulled back down, all of the content reappeared. So I'm wondering if this could have been an indicator that law enforcement subpoenaed David's social media accounts and they were sweeping through his IG post today and obviously his DMs. Now you may be wondering, why would law enforcement subpoena his social media accounts? How would they find anything on there that would showcase that he unalived Celeste? And I don't think that that would be the reason why they would have done this. I think that what they are trying to do by looking at his social media accounts and sweeping through them is to further establish that there was an inappropriate relationship going on between both he and Celeste. We know that the two were communicating on Discord. We also know that the two were communicating on IG. She was liking his photos. She was commenting on some of them. I'm sure that they were direct messaging each other. So I think that what we're going to see, if law enforcement isn't able to get an MURDER charge brought against David, they will end up getting a statutory RAPE charge brought against him.
That's what I think.
Things that they are uncovering from both his phone and his social media accounts, and I'm sure things off of the electronic devices as well. So I believe that that's probably what law enforcement is looking into and trying to collect right now as they await the rest of the results from the medical examiner's office. Now, I also want to address a clip that I saw of someone's live stream of this guy right here. His name is Marky Next Door on social media. He is David's ex bodyguard. He was David's bodyguard back in 2022. Now, he made a joke last night on live stream. I want you guys to listen to this.
Hey, Mama.
I helped him bury her. It's crazy.
Now, obviously, Celeste was not buried. She was found in the front trunk of David's Tesla. But the fact that this guy is joking about having involvement in Celeste's death is crazy. And it just makes me wonder if maybe there could be some truth to that. After all, this was the same guy who was directly talking to Celeste in David's Discord chat back in 2022, and the same guy who was joking about the feds looking for him a couple of weeks ago. So why is he talking like this? Why does he think that this is appropriate or funny? And could he be saying this stuff because he's being used as a distraction here? I don't know. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this stuff in the comments, and make sure you're following me for more updates on this case. I'll talk to you guys later. So something was going on with David's IG.
So it seems to me, let me get this down. Seems to me that every case wants distractions. I don't know why that is, but you know, it seems like they're learning from each other. But I do agree with him. I think that they are going eventually to get and charge David with those charges for underage. If they don't get him for that, I think somebody really needs to be looked at. You know, again, I was talking about yesterday, I don't know if the parents has to do that or if the state's going to take that up on theirself, or it might be a possibility that her parents are going to be in trouble theirself. But to me, I think, in my opinion only, not knowing, but I think at the very least, they're probably going to get him for that. And I want to go, well, yeah, let's go ahead. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and go over this one. Hold on just a minute. We'll go ahead and go over this one too.
Really good.
Okay,
it's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. I media trained you
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's
bye.
been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
Okay, okay. I want to tell y'all, like that attorney. Hey, Fly Girl. Hello, everybody coming in. Susan, everybody coming in. Mama, love y'all. Thank you for being here. I'm going to put this up big again. My friend was telling me, okay, also on this one. Okay, so yesterday when I was saying that on Ashley Banfield, how the attorney, she even said she got on to that. I don't know if it was an attorney or not, but whoever was saying, well, there's got to be proof or whatever. Well, this right here is what I wanted to show y'all. Honey, if this ain't telling something, I don't know what's speaking from the dead, honey. I just don't know. Listen, I know they'll try to squash this and everything else in court, but my friend was telling me something very interesting that I don't think anybody else caught. I didn't catch it, but y'all might have. I don't know. Sometimes it takes me a while, honestly. When she says that and she takes her hand, watch how she takes her hand. You know, it's almost like she's doing a hand sign. And then he's talking about delete everything, delete everything. Well, my friend was saying, wonder if that's some kind of hand sign. She was in trouble or something like that. Anyway, she would have to explain it to you, and she's not going to get up here right now. But anyway, I can't do it justice. But just watch that. And then how we looked it up. You can look it up too in Japanese. The Japanese hand sign, the way she does her hand and her palm, if you watch it, and I'll keep going back, that sign, that she may not even know what she was doing, but that says help me in Japanese. If you go down through the whole Atami thing, and I know it's complicated, y'all, it is complicated for me, but it's just something I'm going to put y'all on, okay? I ain't trying to get into no conspiracy BS or anything like that, because I ain't about all that. Thank you, Janice. Thank you so much. Woo, now I'm home. I can get my bell. Ring my bell on Sunday morning. I bet y'all think, God, I could do without that, honey. I could do without that. Let me give you this, Janice. This might be better, honey. Let's give you one of these. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Janice. Love you, Janice. Janice gifted 1 Smiley's World membership. Thank you, Janice. Whoever got that, please thank Janice. Janice is a beautiful person, a beautiful friend, and a beautiful mod. Thank you so much for that. And welcome to Smiley Squad. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to bring this up big again. I just want you to watch her hand, and then y'all can take this video and you can look it up under the Japanese thing, and it does mean help me. So watch.
Oh my, delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything. I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my, delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything. I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my, delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything.
So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I'm sure they will be looking into all that. I'm sure they'll be looking into his clouds, into all of his social media. Hello, Carol Loves Embroidery. Hello, Embroidery and Crime. Hello. Welcome in. Thank you for being here this Sunday morning. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, everyone. So I don't know, but I think they will be looking into everyone. But, they should. They really should. They should look into all their things. I feel like that, that should be the very least he should be charged with. But so many things seem not right in this case. And in my opinion, like I said, even way back before he knew Celeste, and she was even in the picture, so many things was wrong about him. And he had problems. He had problems. And was he ever checked out for problems? I don't know. We went through this. Did he have problems in school? I don't know. Why was he homeschooled? I don't know. We probably won't know these things until he ever went, if he ever goes to court. But right now he's not even named as a suspect. And if they are even thinking he's a suspect of anything, they're not saying. They're keeping it very close to the vest. So again, I just want to talk about it, period. But more so than that, I want to talk about DID. And DID is a complex mental health condition. And it's where a single person develops two or more distinct identities. A personality states often called alters. Okay. And each identity may have its own name, its own voice, its own memories, and a way of thinking or behaving. And it's considered it's dissociative. And it's a dissociative disorder, meaning the person's thoughts, memories, and feelings or sense of self becomes disconnected from each other. Well, see, David used an altar, and he used a Tommy, right? And that was just one that we know of. Okay. And again, for those coming in, these are my thoughts and my opinions only. But we're going to mix it in with what this is. Because he said so himself. He told the world in an interview once that he used that altar. That in some places have even been deleted, but he said it. And I know that it's out there somewhere. And a Tommy, if you look it up, it means in Japanese, it's a word that means pain. So was he in pain? And again, hey, Neuro V. And again, don't get it mixed up. I'm not excusing anything he did, might have done, or anything like that. I'm trying to put all this together. Okay, I'm human just like y'all. But let me explain this. If someone's name, or names an altar a Tommy, which means pain, that name a Tommy already tells a story. Okay, it means that part of them holds the pain. Okay, People with DID or anyone who has inner parts and it's formed by trauma, sometimes names those parts after what they feel, not who they are. One of the symptoms, Neural says, one of the symptoms is they don't feel pain. They disassociate emotionally. From emotional trigger. That's right. Yeah, so they disassociate from that. So an alter named Tommy might have formed it to like carry the pain that the rest of that person couldn't handle. And they might hold the memories of that trauma to kind of protect it, protect its alter, if that makes sense. Like the anger, the grief, the sadness. So one is forbidden from feeling it. So an example would be a Tommy came from the hurt, but a Tommy carries the screams so the others can smile. You see what I'm saying? So that's how some survivors describe their pain holders. They have pain holders. When trauma happens, especially in childhood, and we don't know that trauma happened in David's childhood, but if I had to just say, if it was him, it wouldn't matter if it was Joe Blow or whoever. If I had to guess, I would say it probably did. It don't matter that his parents was Christians, quotey. Hell, bishops hurt people all the time. Remember? Y'all don't forget that, right? I love how people stand up and say they're Christians. We've seen a bunch of Christians go to jail, right? Just saying. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But when trauma happens, especially in childhood, what happens is the mind, your mind's a tricky thing, but your mind splits like a nut. It splits into parts so it can survive the unbearable. So instead of one person feeling everything, there's different parts that take on different jobs. One holds the pain, like a Tommy. One might stay strong and calm. It's called the protector. One might be innocent or the happy child. That might be the little child that, I don't know, maybe like the younger Celeste. Now I'm just throwing things out there. You can call it making it stick to the wall if you want to. I'm just thinking in my mind. So Neuro says if they smell, hear, any sensory trigger, the past threat to life, they can disassociate into, it's like they have triggers also. Absolutely. So there may be one, and it's called the caretaker. So the caretaker may try to please everybody and take care of everybody. Hell, maybe I need to go see a psychiatrist. Maybe I got a freaking altars. Maybe I got one damn altar that takes over all the time. I don't know. I ain't trying to be funny. Shit. It ain't nothing to be ashamed of. But it's like that. You know, I used to have an imaginary friend named Susan. I think I told y'all about that before. Growing up. Shit, maybe I'm learning something today. But I said this yesterday, I think David had imaginary friends, and I think he named them. Well, a lot of people hasn't, Carol, but I'm going to show you some videos on here in a minute. I'm not just going to talk today. I'm trying to break it down for you, and then I'm going to show you some videos. This is true. This is a true story. See, that's what I said earlier. I don't think you were here at the very beginning, but see, when things like this happen, people always want to go, they're psychopaths, they're sociopaths. And I was saying that very well might be true. But you know what? People like to give people a label. How many of y'all have ever, I was a young child, but how many of y'all ever saw the movie or read the book or Sybil, you know, many personalities? So these things are, you know, yes. And if you didn't, you need to go back and read these things. That was the first time I had ever, and I was a kid, heard of things like this. But that might be a little reminder. But if a Tommy isn't evil, so it's not that not if. A Tommy is not evil, okay? A Tommy really isn't evil, okay? A Tommy really is the brave, okay? Because a Tommy agreed to hold all the suffering so the others could keep on living and smiling, if you really think about it. Even if someone doesn't have DID, naming a person a Tommy Paine can also mean this is the part of me that bleeds into my art. Now think about that. This is where I pour my heart into sadness so I don't drown in it. Now listen, that name reminds me of what I survived. So they named themselves something like that. Listen, y'all, artists do that all the time. Singers, artists, they do that all the time. They may not have DID. And again, I'm not saying he did. So he may have just named himself that, right? Now, artists do that all the time. Here's where I'm not going to agree. They don't do it in the sick way that David, in my opinion, did. Because in my opinion, all along, David was living it out in a sick way with his words. That's why I told y'all to listen to everything I'm saying. In his words, in his sick fantasy. That's what I call sick. in his sick fantasies, carrying, I'll kill you, I hate you, whatever, carrying casket, whatever. Writing all this in his little sister's closet. Or was that a Tommy then? Or was that another altar? I don't know. Yes, right, Neuro. So see, that could have been a whole different altar right there. That may have not even been a Tommy. And that's what got me to looking at this. So that's why I wanted to put artists do name themselves, but not in a sick way like this. So it could very well be another altar. I'm just saying, again, I'm not diagnosing him. I'm not saying he has this, but it's got Smiley. It's got me thinking. Y'all can think what you want to do. I ain't trying to tell you what to think or believe. But these are my thoughts. But maybe, he's got that third altar or fourth altar, and it's a gatekeeper. Look, anyone ever before it went off the air, has anyone here, and this was years ago, it's been off the air for years. How many people in here ever watched One Life to Live? Did anybody ever remember watching One Life to Live? Because there was, okay, all right, Carol, so good. Do you remember watching, okay, so did you watch it during the time? Yeah, a long time ago. Do y'all remember watching it when Vicky, they had Vicky, hey Aaron, they had Vicky on there, the character Vicky. And I know that's a soap, but they put a storyline in it for a long time and then carried it on through the end until One Life to Live was over with, a storyline about DID, that she had DID. And they did that because they wanted to bring that mental health issue to the forefront. And because that's very true. And those things could happen in real life, and they do happen in real life. That was not a made up storyline on One Life to Live. That was something that they were bringing to the forefront. Just like if y'all, and I've watched General Hospital since I was a little girl. If y'all watch Sonny on there, he has mental bipolar, and y'all know bipolar. Maurice Bernard that's his real name in real life. He has bipolar. Well, what are y'all going to do? Say that's a soap and there's no such thing as bipolar in real life? Everybody knows there's bipolar in real life. Sometimes these soaps do bring into real life, so people that watch are not just watching fake stuff. They can bring in things to help, just like we try to, or some of us on here try to bring in knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge can help someone relate to it. That's right. But Erica Slezak was about DID. D. It was a storyline. It was very interesting on One Life to Live, and they brought it on air. It's nothing to joke about. It's not funny. There is help out there. There's nothing funny to be ashamed about mental health, any type of mental health. What is to be ashamed about is when you don't help those you claim to love, or you allow them to be undiagnosed or unhelped. There you go. Smiley said it. Or you try to hide them, or you just throw them away, or you shame them. Or if someone names a part of them pain, and it's not because they love pain, it's because they've made peace with where it came from. That name means I survived what tried to destroy me, right? Sometimes the pain we have to carry runs deep, very deep. The mind has to find a way to survive it. And when it can't talk, or we can't talk about it, when it can't cry out, that pain takes on a voice of its own. That's what happened when people say they have part of an altar, or even when artists takes a name like a Tommy, which literally means pain in Japanese. So let's watch. Hello, everybody coming in. TJ, Danny. Let's see. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry, I can't see that. I think it's encouraged, sons of my eyes. I think it's encouraged the industry to have alter egos to help them gain popular and explore. And yes, and you know what though? But they know also if you are faking it. They do know that. So I've been studying on it. They do also know if you're faking it. I want to put that out there as well. Let's watch. Let me shut up a minute. Let's watch something. All right. Let's watch this one first. This is Dissociative D-I-D. Hold on a minute.
Welcome back to another video by Dissociative. If you don't know what the Dissociative Project is, the Dissociative Project is dedicated to raising awareness about dissociative identity disorder and other trauma-related disorders. A lot of you have questions on who our regular fronters are, who are you most likely to see in these videos, who are the people speaking to you? So this is going to be a rundown of our most regular fronters that you are most likely to see on the channel. Of course, other alters do make videos and you will run into them on the channel. Some of them already have their own Meet the Alters videos where they introduce themselves and tell you about who they are in their own words from their own mouth.
My name is Mike. My God.
I am Sally.
My name is Mara.
My name is Omega.
My name is Kaya.
My name is Chloe.
It's Kyle.
My name is Nadia.
My name is Jade. My name is Nin.
My name is Ruby.
My name is Mama.
My name is Nina. My name is Gregory.
My name is Mary.
I'm Soren.
My name is Jake.
My name is Sia.
These are just the people you are most likely to meet making videos for the Dissociative Project at the point of me filming this. First of all, there's Kem and Red. You're probably less likely to see them fully fronting, but they are almost always co-conscious with our host, Soren. Kem and Red are our host's personal protectors. They exist and work separately from the rest of the system, but are able to communicate with some alters like Mike, especially if they are close to the front or nearby to each other. They split off together and they work as a duo to help the host function. Red taking care of emotional support and encouragement, whereas Kem takes a more forward-facing role in terms of defense and support. You might have noticed my voice changing then. I think Jade got closer to front because I'm talking about alters within the system. You'll usually be able to spot Kem if you notice our voice taking on a gravelly tone. He can be harsh, direct, snappy, and overconfident.
Yes,
he doesn't
I
tolerate
do.
any disrespect and generally dislikes people who haven't proven themselves in his eyes.
I
These
don't
are
remember,
great
I
characteristics
don't
in a
remember
protector, but can
Beyonce.
be a little bit
I do remember
intense
Mark
and
Brooks.
confronting for people external to the system who might not have realized they're not showing either Soren or Kem or Red enough respect. Red, on the other hand, is an absolute ball of sunshine. We love Red. Everybody loves Red. You guys love Red. He's been on TikTok like twice, and the comments were like, we love this guy. So yeah, all of us agree, we all love Red. He is fantastic emotional support, and he's very close to both Kem and the host Soren. But it is important that as much as we all adore Red, don't let his golden retriever personality fool you into thinking that he's a pushover. He's strong, confident, and very sincere, and he places a lot of importance on respect, kindness, and connection. My name is Jade. Jade is one of our highest level gatekeepers. She may make specific videos on her own, or she may come closer to front to keep an eye on what people are saying publicly when it has something to do with our personal system. As a gatekeeper, my role is important. High stress, high demand. She can control who has access to what memories, as she is in charge of memory filing, so she can force amnesia upon an alter or take memories from them. I protect alters from each other. I protect us from our own memories. I protect from the realities of the abuse that we experienced and the trauma that came separately and resulted from that. It is significant. If you are hearing from her in a dedicated video, there's a chance that there's probably big trouble coming, or it's a situation where we need to choose our words very carefully. I think I'm actually gonna get chucked out. You may lose me, sorry. Maybe. I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a switch or not a switch, or I can just feel her like looking at me disapprovingly. Like arms crossed.
Yes, and rabbit hole, they say that it's on the rise too. They say that it's on the rise.
I'm also the most protective in terms of vocalizing for the system. I have a very sharp tongue. I can be very firm, and I'm also told that I can be quite unnerving because of how direct I am. I do not pull punches. I say what I mean, and I choose my words very carefully. I do not say anything that does not need to be said. It is interesting to see how Soren sees me based on what he's put in his notes. I'll just read to you what he's said. Jade is firm, eloquent, and can be quite biting. Soren has written, she doesn't mince her words and will tell you exactly where the situation stands in a manner that is polite but leaves no room for argument or misunderstanding. He's correct. Jade is in charge of memory filing and can help control which alters have access to what memories. This can include forcing amnesia after or during events on specific alters, also correct. Also a fan favorite on the channel, when she shows up to lay down the law, many of you have said that she feels like she's looking through the camera into your soul and notice a difference in posture as well as voice and language. I wouldn't say I'm a fan favorite. This is news to me. See, now everybody's confused because now it's Soren, Jade, and Red, and Kem, all relatively close to front, and nobody knows who's doing what. Oh, I need to ground. Ground. Come on. We need to get this filmed. Chances are you'll know Jade immediately when you see her, unless she doesn't want you to know that she's there, in which case you will not know. This also means that I am aware of a lot. I have experienced abuse myself, and I have witnessed, understood, or filed memories of abuse and trauma for other alters. I know I may come across as harsh, but I'm not vindictive. I'm bitter, but I'm logical, and I am measured, and I have to be. As a gatekeeper, that is integral to be able to do my job effectively, correctly. There is little room for error. Another alter you're very likely to run into on the channel is Mike.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike. If you followed our other social medias, you're probably relatively familiar with me. It's not unusual for me to be popping up on TikTok or switching out during the gaming streams on Twitch, which our Twitch is the system stream. I'm a trauma holder. I dealt with it badly, not anywhere near as destructively as a lot of other people in the system. And now people on the internet have called me class clown.
Mike is a protector and a recovered persecutor. He's a lovable and funny guy and a fan favorite on the channel. Mike may have a Meet the Alters video on the channel. You did a Meet the Alters video, right?
Absolutely.
He's not close enough to tell me. I don't know. I just sound like an idiot speaking to
And
nobody.
they can be either male or
Kem says he thinks that
female.
he did do one.
inside
Okay.
either,
Me and Kaya will end up
your
sort of
body.
on top of
It
each
doesn't
other or
matter
confronting,
what
and
the
then we'll be
female is
arguing
now.
over who's doing what or how, you know, the body's using the analog stick or whatever. I'll be pulled front if there's like a lot of action or a lot of brain work needs to be done. And that originated as me wanting to distract, because if I was focusing on these puzzles, I couldn't be focusing on running from my trauma.
Despite being a recovered persecutor and a very good protector, he still struggles with expressing himself in healthy ways and connecting to people in a healthy manner. He uses humor as both a defense and a deflection and a coping mechanism. He can be hilarious and energetic, but he can also come across as harsh and insulting if his humor doesn't land right. He'll also tell you what he thinks and won't beat around the bush.
I am a guy who has a lot of humor, a guy who's maybe a little bit mean sometimes, but I don't mean to be mean. It's just the best way I know to communicate when I'm not happy with something. And sometimes I'm just funny because I am inherently hilarious, frankly. And that's a core part of who I am. I have changed in the last 5 years. I've gone from being a very, very traumatized, standoffish, nasty person to be around to having some serious fucking growth. Things are different now, and I am grateful for my system. Oh, grim. Cheesy as fuck.
If you aren't prepared to hear blunt truths that may feel very confronting, don't ask Mike. You'll be able to recognize him from a slightly lower tone of voice, and like most of our male alters, he has an Essex accent. Sally is one of our most wonderful and beautiful caretakers.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sally.
She usually stays and functions within the inner world itself and takes care of the majority of our young child alters, which within the community are colloquially known as littles.
Lots of time in the inner world looking after the children now. So a lot of what I do is soothing the system. I do a lot with the children. They'll either sit with me while I garden, or they'll sit on my lap in my rocking chair.
She has a very calm and feminine energy and is spectacular at comforting others and calming them down.
I'm more of an inner caretaker. I work mostly on the inside. I used to exist primarily to soothe Chloe, especially when she was having panic attacks or major depressive episodes.
If somebody calls you my darling in a comforting voice, it's probably Sally. Sally also has 2 accents. She can be very classically English RP accent, or sometimes she has a very American accent. And this is because as a caretaker, Sally adjusts. It does seem to be just those 2 things, but she will adjust to use the voice of whatever will feel the most comforting to the alter who is in need of comfort at the time. We grew up in England, in Essex, and we were surrounded by people with different accents, whether that be classically English RP accents, strong Essex accents, which a lot of our male alters have, and watching a lot of American television. So Sally seems to pick up on the American and English side of things as what would bring the most comfort.
So dedicated to trying to change lives, I guess, to trying to help. And I find that very inspiring, and I think that we're lucky to have been given such a platform to be able to explore that. And if we're helping people along the way, then what more could we ask for?
Mary is our sunshine girl. She is one of our trauma-free alters who holds no memories of abuse.
Hello, my name is Mary, It's spelled Maeri, and I am a physical external caretaker. My role is essentially what Sally's role is, except Sally's role is internal and mine is external. So I help the body to relax and to calm down and help us remove ourselves from things like working or stresses or triggering things so that the body doesn't get overwhelmed. She helps us to do things that will calm the body down, help us find enjoyment in life, and allows us to do things that certain traumatic experience we might have had would have stopped us from doing in the past, or that alters who hold memories of trauma may be unable to do for themselves. I'm really glad with the changes that I've brought into the system. I'm really happy with my role. I'm not a trauma holder. My system is intense. There's a lot of characters, like strong personalities, strong characters in our system. Some people who aren't very nice, some people who are absolutely lovely. I'd love to know Sally better. I've only met her in passing. Mara is fun to be around, but very chaotic. Mike is also quite chaotic. I'm happy to be here. She's fantastic at helping us find small joys and contentment in our life wherever we can. I'm calm, but I can get excitable. I like cute stuff. I like calm things. I like reading. If we had the chance to go outside more, I think I would really enjoy walking around and being in nature. She can be a little bit ditzy. She still gets lost in the inner world sometimes, despite having been there a while now. But she is a sweet and fun-loving spirit through and through who looks for the positives in life wherever she can. And last but not least is our host, Soren, who is mostly me. We've still got Cam and Red around at the minute, but mostly this is Soren. Hello. I'm our current host. I am the result of an incredibly complicated, interrupted fusion. Our previous host, Kaya, and another alter, Mara, were successfully fusing last year after years of trying to recover from, work through, and process their traumas together. Unfortunately, this fusion was interrupted by another traumatic event about 3/4 of the way through that fusion occurring. Experiencing such a re-traumatizing and traumatizing on its own crime midway through that fusion resulted in a split. Both alters resulting from that split continued to partially fuse while integrating the new trauma. The result of that is that I, Soren, and my sister present as twins who are sometimes in the same body in the inner world. We have never had such a complicated experience with splitting and fusing, and we're learning and trying to figure it out as we go. We're hoping that my sister and I will eventually fuse as well. We'll see. But essentially, I am the result of Kaya and Mara fusing and then integrating another new trauma event. My preferred pronouns are he, him, but I obviously don't act particularly masculine most of the time, but it doesn't change who I am or how I view myself as existing. I stick to decisions better than Kaya did, and Kaya was good at sticking to decisions. I'm also a lot firmer and, just as Kaya was, extremely protective of my system. And those are the alters that you are most likely to meet making videos for the Dissociative Project. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see behind the scenes, outtakes, bloopers, and help vote on what videos you want to see next, you can tell us, hey, Soren, guys, Mike, Kim, Red, anybody in this video too, to be honest, we want to see this next. You can go to our Patreon where you can vote. You can see all the behind the scenes stuff about how our system interacts. You can get merch, which is things like lists, hand-drawn art. You can get stickers, you can get posters, you can get hoodies, you can get whatever you want. You can also see upcoming clips and hints of what videos are coming next before anybody else has any idea of what is going to be publicly available. And also some videos that may be cut, that we've said, you know what, actually, no, we're not happy with that going public for whatever reason, but they will be exclusively released on Patreon as and when that happens. So if you would like to join our Patreon, you can join from just £1 or $1 a month, or the equivalent in your currency, and we will love to see you there. We are also in a court battle against Sergio Costa. If you don't know who Sergio Costa is and what he did to us, we have a playlist called What Happened to Dissociative, where you can find out everything that happened to the court case and what this man has done. We use Crowd Justice, which is a crowdfunding platform that sends money straight to our lawyers. We don't get to.
Okay, so I want to watch another one they did. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Because I think this is important information. And then we got one on dating, but we're going to, with a person with that. So hold on just a minute. Uh-oh. Let's watch this one first. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, hold on. No, this is, okay, hold on. No, let's watch the dating one first. Hold on. Yeah.
I'd like us to introduce our sponsor for this video. Having dissociative identity disorder means sharing one body with other alters, and that can make choosing products quite difficult for us. We tend to gravitate towards natural and ethical products that have a high variety of different options so that they can be swapped out depending on who's taking care of the body that morning. We've been using native deodorants for 7 months now, since July 2020, I believe, and that's the longest we've ever stuck with one brand. Their formula is paraben-free, sulfate-free, and aluminium-free, and it's so smooth and moisturizing. Native are also vegan and cruelty-free, which supports the ethics of most of our system members. Native provides a huge variety of different scents, and they also offer trio bundles, so it was really easy to find signature scents for most of our main fronters without having to overspend. I honestly have to say that these are some of the best smelling products I think we've ever owned. Nin uses peach and nectar, which is a really sweet, syrupy scent. I always go for French vanilla and buttercream because it smells exactly like cake frosting, and I love that. Kyle uses citrus and herbal musk, and Ruby is the only one of us who consistently goes for poppy and cactus flower. Native offers free shipping to the US, and they also deliver to other countries too. 3 deodorants are usually $36, but if you use our link and the code Dissociative, then you get them for $24, which is 33% off. That works out to about $8 per stick for an extremely impressive product. Thank you so much, Native, for supporting us by sponsoring this video. So, advice for dating a system. There are a lot of things that need to be kept in mind when you're dating a system that you might not have to even think about if you were dating somebody with a singular personality. That doesn't mean that it's any less important to know. One of the first things that you should do is make sure that you understand DID or OSDD and any other illnesses that your partner may have. By being informed and educated about how to support them best, what their disorder means for them, and how it changes their life would greatly support you and help you through your relationship with them. Alters are their own individuals, and they are just as much a real person as you are. They are all individuals, and they will all have their own preferences and their own boundaries. That means that you need to learn as many of them as you can. Respect each alter because they are their own person, and everybody deserves respect, even if you're not dating them. One of the first things to figure out when you're dating somebody who has more than one personality is, who are you dating? Are you dating at all? Is this a strictly sexual relationship? Is it a romantic relationship, or is it something different? And who is involved? Just because you're dating one alter, even if that's the host, the alter who's out most often, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily in a relationship with that system or with anybody else in that system. Just because one alter might be using that body and you're dating them in that body does not mean that you are entitled to anybody else who uses that body. Dating one doesn't mean dating all. Respect each alter's boundaries, their wants and desires. Everybody will feel differently about you, and that's okay. They don't answer to you, they answer to their own system. Set rules about dating. Who can date who? Have you considered what would happen if you're dating one alter, but another alter in the system falls in love with you or becomes very attracted to you? Have you thought about how you would handle that situation, both as a system and as their partner? Are you polyamorous? Are you monogamous? What about if somebody wants to date somebody
thinking that would be very
outside
hard.
of the system who isn't you? Every alter is their own individual and has their right to do what they want. But again, you're involved now. And ultimately, system responsibility means that the system has to take responsibility for any action done by any alter. If you don't know how you feel about this, at least set down rules for how you would discuss and communicate about the situation should it come up in the future. Things to consider are jealousy. What if one alter gets jealous that you're spending more time with somebody else? What if one person wants to date you and gets jealous of the alter who is dating you because they're not allowed, if that is your circumstance? Safety is paramount. Understand their boundaries and their triggers. This doesn't mean that you should sit down and interrogate them. It means that you should pay attention to what their triggers are and maybe have a conversation about them if you're comfortable. Are there any particular topics or situations that are triggering for you that I should know about? I can make sure to avoid them in the future and be careful when they come up. That's a good way to start a conversation, for example. You don't need to ask about their trauma, and it is absolutely within their right to not talk about anything to do with this. It will make things easier if you can point out what is triggering so that they know what to avoid, what to be careful around, and also how to respond in the case that somebody does get triggered. Remember, this may be different.
See, also, it makes me, I brought this one up too, because it also makes me wonder, and this is just my opinion only, nobody's been or that we know of diagnosed with this, or I'm not trying to put it on nobody. I'm not a doctor, anything like that. But I just have thoughts. But I also wonder if this were to be hypothetically something that was in David's past, in my opinion, just thinking out loud and bringing it in the mix, not trying to get any conspiracies or anything started, but I'm just thinking, if he had any trauma or pain or anything like that, and then named himself Atomic, not, and could this have anything to do with Celeste or any of his alters or anything like that? And then that's why I wanted to kind of bring this dating thing up, or triggers or anything like that. Hey, Millie. Hello. Good to see you, honey. Happy Sunday. And so, that's just kind of, I was just looking at all things, but that's just me. Don't mean anything, nothing whatsoever. It was just me. That's all. But I find this very interesting, and there is so much on this and so many videos. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Different per alter. Some might want to be comforted and taken away from the situation. Others might want to pretend that it's not happening. Some will need support and physical affection to help ground them. Others will not want to be touched under any circumstances, as it could make it worse. So try to be aware of the triggers of the system in general and of specific alters and how to deal with that best. But remember, it's not your responsibility to take control or take a responsibility for their healing. That is what a therapist does.
Celeste was just a
you're
child,
not their therapist. I should hope. That is a professional's job description. What they need from you is love,
this was
support,
true,
and care.
it
Learn about their no-go zones, whether
this.
that is physical, emotional, or conversational. Different alters may have aversions to being touched in certain ways or certain places, whether that's because of trauma or just personal preference, it doesn't matter. That is a boundary, and you need to know about it and respect it. Another good thing to do is learn to check in before you bring up specific topics or conversations. This is something that is helpful in any relationship, regardless of whether that is romantic and intimate, or sexual, or friendships, or work relationships, professional colleagues. Learn to check in. Hey, I'd like to talk about this right now. Are you in a place where you're all right to discuss that? Are you emotionally available for this conversation right now? How are you feeling? Would you be able to handle a conversation about X, or would you like to postpone it until you feel ready? Never share information between alters unless you have explicit permission to do so. There is a reason that amnesia exists. There is a reason that the mind developed whatever disorder this person has, and it was to survive and stay safe. It can be very difficult to see somebody you love suffering and hurting, and perhaps if you watch an alter have a flashback, things might suddenly start to make sense to you, and you might want to pass that information on to another person in the system. Don't do that. There's a reason that they don't remember, and it's likely because they're not ready or built to handle that at the current moment. That doesn't mean that they're weak or incapable or avoidable.
Okay. I wanted to say this too. It just dawned on me. Also, when I used to watch the One Life to Live, what I was talking about a while ago, and I don't pretend to know anything about this. I'm learning as well because I find this fascinating. And I didn't even think about One Life to Live until I was going back doing research on this. But I did watch it and all that stuff back in the day. In that, the alters did, come to think of it, discuss with each other they may have left the main person out. Like, for example, if we're speaking of me or DVD David or whatever, for example, if they had 2 or 3 alters and they were trying to argue back and forth or protect him or something like that, or they would discuss, they would talk to each other. The alters would talk to each other, like she's kind of saying now what, they would discuss with each other and talk to each other. So let's just say, what if a crime was committed? So would they know? Well, the alters would know, or maybe they would discuss it, or this one would say, the good one would say, this is my opinion. I'm just now on the spot coming up with this. Maybe they would say, no, we got to tell it, or we got to keep it from this, or they can't handle it, or XYZ. I don't know. I need a psychologist in here, honey, to come up online with me and tell me, because I don't know. I just thought of that, though. I'm going to go back to watching before I keep going in circles, honey.
Avoiding it. That's just the way their brain is working. This is all part of trauma processing, and it needs to be handled with a professional, delicately, and in an informed manner. Do not try and interrupt or speed up or interfere with trauma processing. It can have disastrous results. That includes sharing information about trauma for alters that don't know about it yet. I'm not a trauma holder, but I've experienced people having flashbacks both in our system and externally to us, and it can be extremely distressing. I understand that you care and that you want to help, and that this feels like in this circumstance, perhaps if I told them it would help. Please don't share anything without permission. This can go for smaller things as well. If an alter tells you something in confidence, please keep that to yourself. Be polite, kind, and respectful to all the alters in the system. Alters aren't going to disappear because you don't get on. They're not an inconvenience. They're part of the person that you love, part of their experience, and part of who they are. There's no such thing as an evil alter. Please make sure that you are educated on persecutors. Again, it can be difficult to see an alter harming somebody that you love within the system, but there is a reason that they do what they do, and lashing out in anger or telling them horrible things, that they're a horrible person, that what they're doing is disgusting, disgraceful, will not help. I know it can be difficult. I know it can be hard. But these alters exist and have a horrible time. They hold extreme trauma in most cases, and they're angry with good reason. They're hurting. They feel awful, and that needs to be handled again with a therapist or with the system. They deserve respect and love too. Even if you don't agree with how they act, even if you're angry with them, that doesn't give you a reason to be verbally abusive or manipulative towards them. Please watch the video that we made on the channel about persecutors if you're not really aware of what they are, why they act the way they do, or how to treat them. Never treat a child alter, as if they were an adult. It may seem strange to see an adult body acting and speaking like a child, but you need to keep in mind the reason. This individual has been deeply traumatized for things that weren't their fault. They did not choose to do this, and there is nothing shameful about the fact that this is how the brain wired itself to survive. Littles, which is the colloquial term for younger alters, may act, think, and speak like children. All of this is valid, but they may also be able to understand extremely complex topics and do and use things like phones, or have strong conversation, be able to write, draw, do athletic things that an average child of that age would not be able to do. That is because they share the same brain and may have been in existence a lot longer than the age that they are. They still have that adult brain with access to some of the experiences that it's had, and some muscle memory too, but their emotional state and some of their processing will be that of a child's. Be careful, be gentle, be respectful. Also be respectful and aware of dysphoria and trauma-based reactions.
We were just talking about
that does not mean that they owe you an
that,
explanation about anything. Privacy is important. That doesn't mean that you're not trusted or that you're any less loved. It's just important to have that privacy in any relationship. And it's important not to become codependent. Allow yourselves to be individuals with a life outside of just your relationship. For people who have experienced trauma and trauma bonding, this can be very hard to learn. As I said before, you are not responsible for the healing of your partner or partners. You're not responsible for holding their trauma, and you're also not there to fix or change them. They have survived everything up until this point, and they will continue to do so with the support of professionals. They don't need to be saved, and if they did for any reason, that's up to their therapist and not to you. Not everyone is healthy enough for a relationship at the same time, and that's all right. Mental health situations and trauma happens and you can't predict it. Things change, and it's okay to step back if you need to, and it's also okay for them to do the same. And remember that it can take time to feel safe with feeling safe. If you're not used to that feeling, it can be flagged as dangerous. If safety is so new, then it's going to throw you off. I'm starting to dissociate now, so I think we should wrap it up here. If you have any questions, please leave them for us, and I'm sure that Nin will be able to make a video on anything else that you want to be discussed. I'm dissociating.
Millie is so right. So DID, dissociative identity disorder, was previously known as multiple personality disorder, and it's a very complex disorder, and it's a condition that has now puzzled, and I mean puzzled, the professionals for many decades. And it's characterized by the presence of two or more distinct identities or personality states. DID is often misunderstood, and it's surrounded by many misconceptions, and people don't understand it. They don't try to understand it. The primary symptoms of DID is the existence of multiple identities within a single person. Each identity may have its own behavior, memory, and ways of interacting with the entire world. These identities can take entire control of the person's behavior at different times. They can't help it. It may be, like I said, a trigger, and somebody was saying a while ago, a smell, anything, some kind of trigger. Alters may have different genders. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. Your alter can be a male or a female. They can be different ages. Different physical characters can come out. They can transition between identities, known as switching. And it can be sudden triggers without any warning. It can be caused by stress, reminders of trauma, and most of these are through sexual traumas, severe, and it's getting worse. They say it's getting more and more diagnosed. There's memory gaps. Individuals with DID often experience significant memory gaps, which are more severe than just your random, typical forgetfulness. These gaps can include forgetting important personal information, events. Entire periods of time can disappear. Memory lapses can lead to confusion, distress. It'll stress you out. Individuals may find themselves very unfamiliar with people, places, and things. They don't know how they got there. That's pretty damn scary, y'all. These memory issues are often linked to switching of the identities, where one alter may not have access. They don't have access to the memories of the other alter. And so they get the identity confusion and the alternation confused. And that's the experience of this DID. Individuals may feel very uncertain. They feel uncertain about who they even are. And their changes are dramatic. They don't know who's in control. People with DID may struggle. They have a sense of feeling like they're different, at different times. They just have all this confusion. They may not understand their own behavior. They have all this confusion. It affects their relationships. They may find it difficult to understand the changes in behaviors or personalities of their self or others towards them. They may also experience feeling detached from their body, their self, like they're having some kind of identity crisis. Why do you think it's getting worse? Do you think it could be because it's encouraged? I think it's getting worse because you know what? I think so many more, especially younger people, we're seeing, honestly, are getting abused. And they say it's due to extreme abuse. And if that's the case, then I think that's if I had to guess, I don't know, but if I had to guess, that's probably why. That's probably why. Because remember, it's due to extreme abuse and trauma. Again, that's what they say most of the time. So if I had to guess, that's what I would guess. Good night, Pink Phoenix. Thank you for being here. But it's the emotional behavior symptoms in DID often are accompanied by a range of different things. Like individuals with DID may experience intense emotions that change rapidly. Emotional responses may be linked to specific alters, some identity being more prone to certain emotions. And it can make it difficult for individuals to maintain stable relationships and cope with daily stressors. They may have behavioral changes. Multiple identities can lead to significant changes in behavior, which may be confusing, distressing, or both. These changes can include shifts of interest, habits, even skills. Different alters may have different abilities and different preferences. Behavioral symptoms can include self-harm or suicidal thoughts, which require immediate attention and intervention. So to cope, with the symptoms and stuff like that, trauma treatment involve psychotherapy, support from mental health professionals. Psychotherapy is a treatment for, they have a cornerstone treatment center for DID, and they focus on integrating, which is what was just, talked about. But sometimes they have problems integrating. But they have techniques for cognitive behavioral therapy, all that stuff. But sometimes you're going to need help and therapy that aims to improve communication between the alters, helping the individual to function more better. And stress needs to get under control, because stress usually is the trigger for the person with DID. And, that causes these personalities to come out. And living with someone with DID can be very challenging. Furthermore, people with DID often suffer from long-term effects of trauma. They say. This is why DID treatment is so critical, and you need to get it, and you need to stick with it. So again, not saying David has this or had been diagnosed with this, but it is very interesting to me. I would be very curious if he did. Or, a lot of people too, again, they do things like get under the influence of drugs to mask this. But also too, a lot of people in the music business also get under the influence of drugs. And I wonder if that's also something that he did as well. They get under the influence of drugs to and it makes them go into an alter state, and that's a whole different thing, and it's not DID. So we're also talking about two different things. Could he have possibly been in a drug-induced alter state, kind of under an alter? Like I said, back in the day, there was acid, LSD, and there's all kinds of things going on with that. What the heck is really going on here? But mental health is no joke. Drugs is no joke. And a mental health professional usually says this DID stuff needs a trauma-trained therapist. They need long interviews about memory, about childhood, about life experiences. They use screening tools. They use dissociative experience scales. They look for constant switching memories, gaps, alters, behaviors. They rule other things out. They take their time. And I don't know if anybody's ever did that with him or not, but they also say that they can tell if people's faking or not. So it takes many of complex things to diagnose someone. I don't know, again, if he's ever been diagnosed. I don't know any of that. And I'm not saying he has any of that. I just find it all very interesting. I think it's complex. I think it's complicated. But memory gaps, I don't know. I just say, symptoms include the following: nightmares, night flashbacks, visual, auditory hallucinations sometimes, sudden impulses or strong emotions, emotional numbness, sense of detachment, headaches, unexplained pain, having no sense of self-identity, feeling as if, one is possessed. I mean, these are just some things. It don't mean you're going to have them. Sensational being like you're in someone else's body or being outside of one's body. And experts agree that dissociative identity disorder often stems from extreme trauma in childhood. Typically, this trauma is the result of ongoing physical, emotional, and or sexual abuse. Such trauma almost always means DID disorder treatment is needed as a coping mechanism to deal with such trauma. The child walls off or disassociates from traumatic experience or the memory of the experience in order to protect themselves from the pain and fear. They distance themselves from what is happening. Now listen to this. They say almost 90% of all cases stem from abuse, almost 90%. The main thing, according to Mayo Clinic, is the split personality. The primary symptom of DID is the presence of two or more distinct personalities. Their core personality, along with alternate personalities referred to as alters. As each alter is very different, the Mayo Clinic says they may have a unique name, personal history, and characteristics, including obvious differences in voice, gender, mannerisms, and even such physical qualities as the need for eyeglasses. Sometimes the personalities may be aware of one another, but this is not the case for everyone. So let's put this away. Hypothetical scenario. Someone with DID, dissociative identity disorder, commits a crime, but it was committed by one of the alters, not the prime personality. Can that person still be held accountable for something one of the other personalities did? Again, no specialist. I'm not a specialist, nor am I the police. I did my research. You can do your research. But what I came up with is debatable. It's debatable. But in the case of David, if David happened to be diagnosed with something like this by a doctor and did any criminal act that had to do with this case, well, in my opinion, I don't see how he could slide by. Not in my opinion, because he's the one that said himself in an interview for the world to see he had an alter named Tommy. So he definitely was aware of that, right? And if he was aware of Celeste and her age, he's out there letting the world to know, if nothing else. And that definitely, in my opinion, implied that Celeste, he was talking to her and she was talking to him, as we showed in the video about him effing kids. And he told his people to delete that entire video and everything about that video. And like that lady on Ashley Banfield yesterday that I played said, well, nothing can't be proved. Well, Ashley said, these people can't play ignorant to the law, right? Well, I agree with Ashley there. So those are my thoughts. And I'm not the only one. And look, I'm sorry for any pain David had in his childhood or whoever hurt him. In my opinion only, from everything I'm seeing and hearing and thinking in my own head, Christians or no Christians, parents, growing up Christians, whatever, I don't know who, but yes, I think somebody did hurt David, in my opinion, somewhere along the line. Now, I'm not saying his parents or anything like that, but somewhere along the line, I think somebody did abuse or hurt him, in my opinion only. I'm not saying that as a fact, because I don't know. But I think he does have pain somewhere along the line. And I'm sorry for that. He was a child, you know, and whoever hurt him, in my opinion, someone must have, is what I think. But he chose to trash his talent, in my opinion, and use it in a dark way. Because he does have talent if he would have used it in the right way. A lot of people do. He could have chose to break those chains of pain, in my opinion, and chose to shine and help people and use his talent for the good. But in my opinion, now, and if he has mental issues, and I believe he does, and again, I'm no doctor, so I don't know. The mental issues may be getting in the way. I don't know. So don't kill the messenger here. That could have some effect on him. I don't know. But to me, some things are just no excuse. That's just my opinion. Kind of like they say alcohol's a disease, but you choose to pick up the bottle, don't you? I'm just saying. I don't know. And trust me, I know all about alcoholism, honey. So, and I still love some of the alcoholics, but you know what? We ain't even going there today. But, and I'm not saying he did anything to Celeste, because he's not been accused of anything, but look, sometimes you got to use common sense. Again, police ain't said anything. We just have to wait and see on this one, because this is a confusing case. I don't even want to say, but I'm people, I got common sense. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, we know he got with a young girl. And what does Celeste say? She was alive. She wasn't dead. She ain't saying it from the grave. She was saying it on that video with him beside her. He was effing kids, right? So no matter what pain or what people did to him, he made his choices in life. How about that? Did Smiley say that right? That's a crime. And she was about 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What kids is she talking about? How do we know she wasn't? She's dead, so she can't speak now. And she didn't say. How do we know them other kids wasn't 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Okay, Smiley will say it. Let Smiley say it the Smiley way, damn it. Let's get raw and real. Let's tell the truth. Let me speak. Now let's get moving. He did what he did. So maybe he didn't kill her. Maybe he didn't put her in his trunk. But he was fucking kids, right? He didn't say he wasn't. He said, delete this shit. Was there a pedo ring going on? Was there a trafficking ring going on? Was he biting off money to everybody? Was he accepting money for some? Y'all clippers clip that and put that out in Smiley style. How about that? You got my permission for that. Because now I'm getting mad. He chose what he chose. I think he handpicked Celeste, Rivas, Hernandez as well. I said that from the start. I think he chose her. And I think he went too far. I can't go to jail for thinking. Maybe I can, but I said what I said, and I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I think there are several things David D4vd needs to answer for. And he don't need to slide. I think anyone who hurt him don't need to slide either. Again, in my opinion, her parents too, they all might not have thought this was going to happen and that she would end up dead, but she did. She did. They all thought it was one big party and everybody was gaining monetary gain, in my opinion. But in my opinion, Smiley's opinion, everyone got blood on their hands. We all have a Tommy. That quiet place pain lives. But remember this, we don't do these things. And we don't sell our souls. We don't sell our children. But pain doesn't mean you're weak either. It means you felt deeply and you survived. So, let's honor the parts of ourselves we hide because they've been protecting us all along. And if you're struggling, reach out. Call a helpline. Text 988. Call 98 or chat. You can chat 988lifeline.org. Healing is not easy, but it is possible. You don't go out and put your hands on little kids. You don't traffic your kids. You don't put up missing posters of your kids and not take them down when they come back to visit. You don't screw little kids. You don't lie, cheat, steal. You don't hurt people because people hurt you. And if you see someone struggling with mental health, you don't throw them away. And if you think you have mental health problems, get help or help those who need help. There's no shame in the game. The shame is what choices that's made after the fact. Thank you for being here. Where Smiley is truth, real, raw, like it, love it, hate it. Be here or leave it. I love you all. I thank you all. Truth hurts sometimes, but I'm going to be real with you. Hit them thumbs up. I'll see you in the streets. YouTube streets, that is. See ya.